Fox 45 pressing lawmakers on a plan on how they to address juvenile crime. What we're learning from today's hearing in Annapolis. A triple shooting at a local high school. One of the latest incidents of juvenile crime in Baltimore City. Why prosecutors are going after the parents of the teen suspect. And 4 council members standing by their decision to abstain from last night's vote on supporting Israel. Why they're now calling that resolution incomplete.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
And we're following breaking news out of West Baltimore. This is a live look at the scene of what police are calling a barricade situation. This is along North Carrollton Avenue. The street is currently shut down. Police telling everybody to avoid the area. People who live close by are sheltering in place. Police not giving any more details, including what led up to the barricade. Fox 45 News will continue to follow this developing story. We'll keep you updated on our website, foxbaltimore.com. And we're taking you live to Annapolis tonight, where lawmakers met today for their 3rd hearing to address juvenile crime throughout the state. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Mary Bubala. We have team coverage tonight of the crime crisis throughout the state. In just a few minutes, Alexa Ashwell joins us with how City State's Attorney Ivan Bates is addressing juvenile crime. But first, Fox 45 has been in Annapolis all day long, getting you answers about how top leaders across the state are working to hold young offenders accountable. Mackenzie Frost joins us live tonight from Annapolis. Mackenzie, what did you learn from today's hearing?
Well, Mary, I think the biggest thing that we've learned is that Democrats do not have specific plans right now in terms of actual legislation to address some of the concerns that we've been hearing when it comes to juvenile crime. This hearing today really centered around hearing from various programs that are working with young people operating across the state. A lot of the programs today were diversion programs trying to work with kids so they don't enter the criminal justice system. The committee members also heard from a judge in rural Maryland talking about what he's seeing in terms of young people coming to him and whether they're actually being impacted by being put on probation. Now, right now, we know that the chair of this committee, Delegate Lou Clippinger, a Democrat from Baltimore City, says that he wanted to have several hearings. And I questioned him about the timing of when Democrats, who, remind you, control both chambers of the State House. So if anything passes, Democrats will have to support it. We asked him when the Democrats will produce their own plans to address some of these concerns.
We have the pieces from these 3 hearings to start to put together the legislation. And I think we'll be looking at issues related to probation, the length of time people are on probation, and a couple of the other issues. But we're getting that drafted, and we should be able to talk about that more in, certainly in the first couple days of session.
From the House perspective, do you see a complete repeal of the juvenile justice laws that have really been at the center of this debate?
I think that what we've learned is that there are some parts of them that work and some parts of them that don't. And I think that whether we do a comprehensive repeal of the entire JJRA, I think misses the point. Whether it's just the changes to the JJRA, there are going to be some changes to the JJRA. Are there going to be changes to the system as a whole? Yeah.
And really, we talked to several lawmakers today, and a lot of them recognize that there do need to be some changes made to the juvenile justice laws. What those changes will be is really the big question that now we're learning won't be answered until lawmakers return to Annapolis for the start of session on January 10th. We're live in Annapolis. Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Mackenzie, thank you. Good job down there today. And as lawmakers work to tackle the crime crisis, police are investigating the shooting of a 17-year-old in Baltimore County. The incident happened yesterday morning on Bonnie Ridge Drive, right off the Jones Falls Expressway. According to police, the teen was home alone when 2 suspects broke into the home and shot him. He is expected to be okay. Police are now investigating, saying it appears to be a targeted attack. Well, Fox 45 News has seen countless brazen crimes committed by juveniles all across Maryland. And tonight, we're taking a closer look at the timeline of violence as state government waits to act. On September 13th, Maryland lawmakers hold their first hearing surrounding the juvenile crime crisis. It focused on two specific laws, the Juvenile Justice Reform Act and the Juvenile Interrogation Protection Act. Prosecutors and law enforcement saying these laws keep them from holding young offenders accountable.
Come in, we can't detain them, they're back in the community the next day.
After 5 hours of questioning, lawmakers ultimately agreed to continue the conversation at a later date. On the same day as that hearing, police in Baltimore City arrest a third teenage suspect in connection to the Brooklyn Day mass shooting, the city's largest mass shooting, which killed 2 young people and injured 28 others. The mother of one of those victims pleading with city leaders to hold young offenders accountable.
What's your normal? I challenge you, what is your normal? Let them take each other out. Is that your normal?
Just 3 days later, September 16th, 4 juveniles are shot in a 2-hour time span ranging in age from 14 to 17 years old. On October 20th, a string of early morning carjackings and armed robberies are reported across Canton and Federal Hill. One of those attacks caught on a Ring camera. Blood-curdling screams waking up neighbors who say a dog walker was punched in the face by a group of young people before running off. A week later, October 27th, 3 teens are injured in a shooting right outside Carver Vocational High School. 2 15-year-olds and 2 parents are now facing charges. On November 2nd, a woman is attacked by a 12 and 14-year-old in Butchers Hill. Those juveniles were arrested but released to their parents just 2 hours later.
The law. I'm pissed off at the law.
Fox 45 News later learning the 12-year-old in that attack is connected to a string of car thefts over the summer in Baltimore County. On November 6th, Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott and BPD Commissioner Richard Worley sound the alarm on juvenile car thefts. The city reporting more than 9,300 cars stolen at the time, and youth car thefts up more than 166%. On November 8th, lawmakers again holding a hearing. State representatives grilling local police and members of the state's juvenile services effort to find out where programs are failing and what laws need to change. The biggest concerns, a lack of accountability and the high number of repeat offenders. In the meantime, kids keep breaking the law. On November 25th, police telling Fox 45 News 15 juveniles were arrested over a week's time for a string of crime, including armed robberies and car thefts. And on November 29th, a Baltimore County woman living just outside the city is attacked as she walks from her car to her home.
I was parked right over there.
The 72-year-old says she was approached by 2 boys who hit her with a gun and stole her car.
These kids don't have consequences, and that's what makes me very angry. And I am furious, and I'm going after these. I want to prosecute. I want to see some type of retribution.
That brings us to today, just a month from the January legislative session, state lawmakers now meeting for a 3rd time. And again, one of those brazen acts, a triple shooting outside of Carver Votech High School. Today, Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates announcing the parents of one of the teen suspects will be charged. Alexa Ashwell continues our team coverage with more.
Collectively, this family, the father, mother, and son, is facing at least 36 criminal counts from this assault-turned-shooting outside Carver Vocational School back in October. The 15-year-old is being charged as an adult with attempted murder.
A family facing charges.
We need parents to be parents. I'm going to say it again. Now, more than ever, in Baltimore, we need parents to be parents. These 2 parents fell woefully short of their responsibility that day.
Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates announcing indictments against a father identified as William Dredden, a mother identified as Tiffany Harrison, and their 15-year-old son in the assault-turned-shooting outside Carver Vocational School back on October 27th. The incident, Bates says, caught on video.
To see parents in a video participating in these types of acts to children is absolutely mind-boggling.
And criminal. According to charging documents, the father and mother went to the school with their 15-year-old son and not only stood by as he pistol-whipped another teen, but helped their son with the assault.
A child's guardian facilitate in settling a schoolyard dispute with violence.
The beating then escalating, Bates says, when the son began exchanging gunfire with another teen. Both were shot, as well as a 3rd teen.
Shots fired alert 2205 Crestman Street. 2205 Pressman Street in the Western. 8 rounds.
16-year-old shot twice, right torso, and a 15-year-old has one in the right leg.
Holding parents accountable, Bates says, is part of his office's approach in addressing the juvenile crime crisis.
Hear me clear, parents. If you have a child, you must also be responsible for your children's actions. We are laser focused on holding these parents accountable. If you wish to participate in these types of illegal activities with your children, if you're not going to be a parent to your children, then we will hold you accountable as well. And our accountability for us means jail, not local jail. We're looking for prison.
And there are questions that remain, including charges for the other teen who was involved in this shooting. We asked the city state's attorney about this. Bates would only say that all those involved in this criminal act are being held accountable. As for the parents, according to court records, they're being held without bond, with court hearings scheduled for early next year. Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
After a resolution condemning Hamas's terrorist attacks against Israel failed at City Hall, the 4 council members who abstained from last night's vote are standing by their decision, now saying in part the measure was rushed through without discussion. The resolution was introduced last night by Councilman Yitzi Schleifer and was intended to condemn the Hamas terrorist attacks on Israel and stand in solidarity with the local Jewish community and the worldwide Jewish population. But it failed to receive the required 12 votes for approval, only getting 9 yes votes. 2 members of the council were not present. 4 other council members abstained from voting on the resolution altogether. Here's Councilman Schleifer after the measure failed last night.
With the large Jewish population that we have here in Baltimore that is feeling very isolated and alone because of the recent events and the rise in anti-Semitism in the United States, it's important that their government can stand with them.
But those 4 council members who abstained on this vote released a lengthy joint statement this afternoon condemning the actions of Hamas. The statement reads in part, "We stand in solidarity with Palestinians and Israelis who want peace." But the council members described the resolution as last minute and claimed the measure went against council rules and procedure. They were also concerned it didn't condemn Islamophobia and all forms of hate. They concluded by standing by their decision to abstain from what they call an incomplete resolution. You can read the full statement on our website, foxbaltimore.com.
A new update to rules critics say were already too lax. I'm Christine Frizzell with a look at the changes when it comes to COVID aid money.
And I'm Wyatt Everhart. Colder air is edging in behind our weather maker, which is a clipper system. This could bring some mixed showers overnight. We'll talk more about the impact of this system coming up.
It has been just about 7 months since the COVID-19 pandemic was declared officially over, and yet state and local governments which received aid money to help with the recovery efforts will now get even more time to use it. Christine Frizzau is on Capitol Hill with a look at why some are pushing back.
Mary, this was an amendment to a rule, and it's written in small print government speak, and essentially says that state and local governments who still have a lot of COVID aid left over by the end of next year don't necessarily have to have that money spent. But critics say, look, the pandemic is over, and these local governments should instead give the money back.
During those long months of quarantine from COVID-19, it wasn't just businesses that lost millions of dollars. The lack of tax revenue meant state and local governments did too. Part of the coronavirus relief fund was meant to fix that. State and local fiscal recovery funds would end up totaling $350 billion.
We feel as if this addresses the needs for states that have lost a lot.
But years later, more than half of it remains unspent. The U.S. Treasury Department now saying what the money can be used for has a little more wiggle room. The Department of Treasury's updated rule amends the definition of obligation to provide additional flexibility to recipients of COVID relief funds. They'll no longer have to pay back unobligated money as long as estimates of the amounts they plan to use are given. Critics call it a, quote, Bidenomics slush fund. The conservative Economic Policy Innovation Center detailing how millions of dollars were approved for projects to update swimming pools, golf courses, and sports stadiums at a time when our national debt has reached well over $33 trillion.
While the American people struggled during the pandemic, our tax dollars are being used for all kinds of frivolous purposes, and I think it's upsetting.
As of March of this year, the Government Accountability Office reported states and localities had not even spent 50% of their awards.
COVID aid was meant to help people or institutions or entities that had real needs. To the extent that you don't have a financial need, you should pay the money back.
Lawmakers have, in fact, agreed to claw back about $30 million in coronavirus relief money, with Republicans pushing to get much more returned. Mary?
All right, beautiful look out at the Inner Harbor tonight. It is chilly and it is clear and it is dry, so we like it like this. Unfortunately, overnight, we may see just a couple of mixed showers come into the area. Probably not going to add up to a significant amount, but it'll be interesting to watch as it unfolds overnight. Low 40s right now to upper 40s, and you can see our next weather maker arriving at least overhead in the atmosphere. Most of this moisture, at least in the immediate western suburbs, is not making it to the ground yet. But we do see precipitation touching out toward Cumberland and out toward Deep Creek Lake. Some flurry action out that way. Light precipitation and wintry mixed type precipitation at that. The good news is any flakes that should fly overnight are in the early morning hours around here. Air temps have been well above freezing today, and even tonight they're likely to stay just above freezing, down through the mid-30s. And so, yes, a few mixed showers, but probably not having any impact to the road itself. Those roads well above freezing. Looking ahead, here's the trend for you. A few overnight wintry showers, then colder, brisk midweek behind that system. Then we do get a milder trend in for the weekend. Overall, you see the setup here on Future Scan, the moisture coming in and then kind of diminishing. So again, just a little hit and miss action, I think, overnight into the early morning hours. Better chances you'll see a few flakes or showers if you're driving into western Maryland first thing in the morning. Other than that, we clear the skies and go partly cloudy as colder air comes in and brings a brisk condition across the state. Behind this system, there is colder air that's been kind of bottled up toward the upper Great Plains. That is going to be sweeping in as we go into the next several days here. So a short-term look at the temperature trend. You see we're colder here for sure. Wednesday and Thursday feeling below average. But then we do see a milder trend into Saturday and Sunday. How about the 10-day forecast? We're going to look at that extended outlook in just a couple more minutes.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Flood watches and warnings are posted for western Washington and Oregon as an atmospheric river brings tropical-like downpours this week. Flash flooding is likely with river levels forecast to crest tomorrow morning. This fall streak hole appeared in the sky over Georgia. It's caused by supercooled water in the clouds suddenly freezing, likely from a passing plane.
Listen to Off the Radar, new episodes every Tuesday.
A Seattle mother saying she feels like she lost her son all over again. How she's honoring his memory after his memorial was vandalized. A West Seattle mom says she feels as if she has lost her son all over again after somebody vandalized her son's memorial. He was shot to death while riding a Metro bus back in October. And tonight's Assignment America, Michelle Esteban from our Sinclair sister station in Seattle reports on mother's love and determination.
What was once just a tree next to a bus stop is now so much more. This is a touchstone tree, a memorial to a mother's beloved son.
I come to this tree, I call it Marcel tree. It's like where he's at for me and where I can feel him at.
Her son, Marcel Wagner, just 21, was gunned down while sleeping on a Metro bus. He was on his way home. Prosecutors called what happened to him a senseless execution of a total stranger. Now look even closer at the touchstone tree and you see what shocked his family. The centerpiece, his photo gone, along with mementos and written messages.
It just felt like he was dying all over again, like he was being taken away all over again.
There used to be red cutout hearts here screwed into the tree, most of them taken, the screws remain. That was hard enough. Then his family says it happened again.
It hurts for someone to come and take away that love.
They added Christmas decorations, covered them in plastic. They were taken too. Marcel was riding the bus to his West Seattle home when court filings say he was shot 5 times. Those same filings allege the defendant, 17-year-old Miguel Rivera Dominguez, pulled the trigger unprovoked and without warning.
He didn't deserve what was done to him. He was a wonderful kid.
Marcel was the youngest of 4. His mother says his smile was infectious. He worked security and hoped to own his own business one day.
I'm not going to stop putting stuff up on Marcel's tree because this is now his tree.
Well, Marcel's mother asked not to be shown on camera because she's worried about her safety. The teen accused of Marcel's murder is due in court Thursday for a pretrial hearing. He's charged with murder and will be tried as an adult.
All right, thanks, Mary. 10-day forecast time. How about that? And a couple of cold, brisk days behind this clipper system coming through tonight. It won't bring much precipitation, but colder air, yes, it will bring that. Into the mid and upper 50s Friday, Saturday, into Sunday, a chance for low 60s. Can you believe that? For the second weekend of December, but it comes with quite a bit of rain for the Ravens game on Sunday. Be ready with the slickers. After that, seasonal weather, we'll call it dry into early next week. And then beyond that, we're talking about 40s and bright conditions it would appear to be as we go toward the end of next week.
Wyatt, thank you. Well, finally tonight, picking out the perfect present this holiday can be a stressful time. But if you're gifting a dog, experts say there are some things you need to know to avoid landing on the naughty pet owner list. Data collected by The Ohio State University shedding light on what new pet owners can expect after adopting. If you're getting a puppy, it's recommended you make time to train and socialize them right away. Be prepared to stay up many nights as well, which can be difficult around the busy holiday season.
Dogs have a socialization period between 8 and 12 weeks of age, so that's when their brain is a sponge.
Well, if you want to see if a dog is a good fit for you this season, you can usually foster one from your local shelter before officially adopting. Well, that's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud's up next. We'll see you back here for the news at 10 tonight. Thanks for watching. Good night.